the iconic look. This is the product. This is the saw that I wanted. I've stated before that I've gone through several different versions of it, but there it is in all its glory. It's a beautiful paint job my friend Jason did for me. Showed me how to do that. Building props to look like they came off a movie set. Certainly there are things about mine that is different. And mine has a full-blown engine in it. And this is real. I had to use the metal bar for the handle wrap with the rubber on it, just because that other thing, you know, wiggles and wobbles, and it's all right for replica costume cosplaying or Comic-Con or anything like that, Halloween party. But beautiful silver tints on this paint job. But yeah, the handlebar is not good for a real one. It's best to hold that thing while using that saw. I've used it one-handed, sure, you know, but I still have my hands, although you know the wrist will bend. The wrist is going to bend with the weight on that. It's best to just hold it there, my left hand, like normal. Needed something a little bit more steady. Everything about his grill is total Ash versus Evil Dead. It's a little flatter in Ash versus Evil Dead as far as the thickness of it, as opposed to one Evil Dead 2 An Army of Darkness. 1 inch wood dowel. That's what you need. You know, the lid, I did not build this lid. Buddy Mike made that lid for me. This part has all been replaced since. This, and I used a thicker steel because the vibrations of the saw tore apart the one he originally put on there, which was bent aluminum bar on top, which is what you put on your replicas. But the vibrations slowly but surely cracked it at points, and it fell apart, so I had to rebuild it that way. Build it myself. So it looks a little different. You know, it's a little different, but I had to put it together so that it could be used without having to worry about it breaking. And I can pick it up. It's strong, it's sturdy, and the lid also split with the vibrations of the motor. I need to repair it, but I am not a welder at the time. I will be. I'll get there. So I just got it kind of zip tied a bit here, and it holds it for right now. You don't really see it when I got it on film too much. Not really concerned about it otherwise. And on the bottom of this is just as flawless of a paint job. Beautiful work. He taught me a few things about painting these things to look the way they did in the movie. And he really watches this stuff. I know when you're a diehard fan, you watch the stuff and you know you want it to look like it came off the movie. And, you know, the guide bar is different. Not going to really be able to do what I want to with it by putting the big bar on it. Ash's chainsaw has the Homelite XL12, Homelite Super XL 20-inch bar on it, which is the regular 3/8 50 gauge chain on it. This bar, not easy to get. This came off of a Homelite 240 or Homelite 245. It is an 18-inch bar, but it supports the 3/8 low profile 50 gauge chain, which typically these saws came with. This is not a Homelite XL. This is a Homelite Super 2. That is what engine is in it. They're practically all the same anyway. As far as, you know, the housing pieces and stuff like that. This housing piece, I believe, was Super 2 or an XL2. And, you know, the motor still fits right in there. And everything, you know, lines up. But those bars, typically on Homelite XL, XL2, or Super 2, there is a 16-inch bar with the 3/8 low profile 50 gauge chain. 14s, of course, too. 14-inch bars on them. Some of the XLs had 8s and 10s even. But but this saw can handle that. I cut wood with it all the time. 2 inches longer than recommended, but I needed something just a little bit more than the 16-inch, and I fought for it because you could rig up the big Homelite bar on it. You could rig it up and it would run and it would spin, but it would not cut wood. So, and I wanted it to be a real cutter, a real saw. And it'd cut a watermelon if I had done it that way. But I wanted it to be the real deal. And that was important to me. You know, certainly this is not screen accurate. I added a primer bulb, because with that top lid, I don't have access to a choke. Almost modified a new choke, but instead I just gave that a try, and you know, I haven't gone away from it since. So I just give it 3-4 squirts and fire it up for cold start. Sometimes, you know, it works good. Sometimes I gotta do it a couple more squirts, but other than that, it's just fine. Way to start the saw very quickly, so nice and convenient. I use that type of muffler. The muffler that is on the Ash vs. Evil Dead is the same as the one in Army of Darkness. It'll have the piece of 2x4 there that's painted black with the reverse side of the actual Homelite muffler. It's filed down flat, and then just sits on top of the piece of wood. But this, since it's stuck out a little bit, I said, yeah, I'll use that type of muffler for it. And I do keep my bar plate on it. I don't know, sometimes you see it in the movies, sometimes you don't. No, in Ash vs. Evil Dead, it's on there. You're looking at the saw just like this in Ash vs. Evil Dead. You can see it. The end credits, when it floats on by, you can see the bar plate. I don't think it's too much in the show, though. The one Bruce Campbell's actually holding. Only his bar plate on him. My clamp is not... My T-bolt clamp is a T-bolt clamp, and it is not it's not the type that's used in Ash vs. Evil Dead. But sometimes things are difficult to get a hold of, special order them or something. And I just put that on there. I had to get away from the idea of making the cuff, the wrist cuff, whatever you want to call it, where Ash would put his stump. I had to get away from the idea of it being metal, and for a couple different reasons. One, it just no longer became convenient to find pieces that would go there, and two, I actually did have some metal pieces, and it interfered with the spark plug. It kept grounding it out, so I used PVC. I painted PVC. And then that's why I'm able to separate it from the connector piece that looks like the power glove, because it's just threaded PVC. And the idea would be to simply take this and you can just thread it on. And I swear I can do it better while wearing the damn thing than anything else. So. There we go. Twist that around just a couple times. Voila. There it is. So now that that's on there, I can simply put the hand right in there. And bam! Pull back on that key ring. And it's all set to go. Make your It makes my arm look obviously longer, since I'm not missing my hand, and the power glove connector part doesn't go as far down my arm as it should. You know, you were missing your hand. So there it is, and then I can turn the light on. I don't really have a flashlight ready to go, and don't do much with it anyway. But and I turn that on, and that's just a convenient way to hide my hand and operate the saw. And I operate the saw like any other chainsaw. I know I've actually used this thing to cut wood and limb trees and all that stuff, as well as, you know, make those videos with them pumpkins and watermelons. Honestly, it is, I prefer to have a glove, or better yet, I've often used I've used a wristband for carpal tunnel syndrome. Left the metal piece in, the metal plate that's in them, to keep your wrist from bending a little bit. And then I put my hand in that thing in there. And then that way it kind of adds a little bit of support and comfort. Hold on to the wood dowel. And then it's usually my middle finger, reaches out and grabs the key ring. And then that is connected to a compression spring, which is connected to some, I want to say is similar to I think I used picture wire hanger. And no, it's not. It's the throttle linkage to an old snowblower. And so that way, all I got to do is pull back on it, and then the engine will throttle. And then once I release it, and then it'll go back into idle. It'll port into, you know, run the saw safely, as well not overwork the motor. And I do, you know, I overwork the motor, and I rev it while not cutting with it, and other things that I shouldn't be done with it. But this is what I use in my movies. And, you know, the connector is also made out of PVC. It's just two PVC pieces. One has the male threading on it, and then another one, a blank one. They're 3-inch round pieces of PVC. They're attached together with mending brackets, and then I used a little bit of tape, put a little bit of black Gorilla Tape around it, and they were spray painted black, and I put pieces of leather, an old leather couch, and I wrapped that around it. And then the wood dowel on the inside, and then obviously the power glove, power pack, and the red metal. I just cut that red metal out of, just sheet metal to make that. It's attached on there in the back with one screw right here, just to keep it down, keep it from going anywhere. So that is it. That's my baby. On this, this is the connector that I use for my chainsaw hand, and as you can see, there is a wood dowel on the inside of this, which is exactly what you would do for the replica, for the Homelite. You would just simply remove the engine, put the wood dowel inside. You know, you can dress it as screen accurate or not as you want. This is also my buddy Jason Smith. He made this, and I don't know, my battery's dying in it, but it's got the light, and it's the toggle switch. Ash versus Evil Dead. I do have the other portion of the glove. I'm actually doing some more work on it to make it a little bit better looking, a little bit more screen accurate, but I really wanted it for this purpose, because all I do is I simply just hold this, you know, and I've got the denim shirt on, so I'll just hold my arm back or whatever and just hold it as much as possible, and then I can go like this and throttle the chainsaw. And then that is how the other one works too. I actually have two of them, and sometimes, maybe if you're paying attention and you are an Evil Dead fan, you'll know that I do have two working chainsaws. I attempted to make as screen accurate as possible, while at the exact same time making them functional. So I have two of them, and this is the flat top. We call it the workshed chainsaw. So this is the workshed chainsaw, and I have used it a couple times, but this is to be modeled for Evil Dead 2, specifically when Ash builds it. There's no raised top lid. It was just a flat piece of sheet metal. Mine, of course, has a cutout because mine's a working saw, so I have the carburetor right there. And, you know, just like my other one, and you look at it here, when I'm wearing that power glove converter thing, what are you going to call it? The little connector. You know, I can take my finger and I can pull back. And when I pull back on that, as you can kind of see a little bit maybe from there, I'm going to see where the carburetor is throttling. So it works the exact same way, except that it's got the raised lid and it hides all the stuff that was built, unlike this one. There's a goofy way to show you. I'll probably take some other footage of it. But yeah, I keep this one primarily right here for my Evil Dead 2 flat top like this. I just want to use Evil Dead chainsaw and I don't want to wear it. Bam! And just, you know, secondary way to throttle that. I'll just hold it, handle, and now it's throttling. I know it is what it is, and I thought about adding one to the raised top. I don't know if I want a little key ring sticking off of it. I don't know if I do, but I haven't done it. So I'm going to just use one of these as just a regular chainsaw. You know, go out and cut a little bit of wood, but I don't want to wear it. I usually pick this one. So this is. I even added the holes on the muffler. You can see that in the movie when he's putting it together. There's 3 extra holes in that muffler that don't belong there. Of course, my Evil Dead chainsaws wouldn't be complete if I didn't actually include one of the Homelite XLs with the normal handle. This is the original top handle. This is an XL. It is just modified to look like the one in Evil Dead 2. Wood dowel. Nice fat grill piece. It's still cut off here. It is not the most perfect one out there, but I still got a little bit of work to do. But obviously, you know, it is hand painted. I've got silver tones on there, similar to the way you see it in the Evil Dead 2. Plus, some of the body pieces have been repainted for a darker red in certain areas underneath. That paint job's slightly like it, I believe. I deliberately did this, as you can actually see that when Ash is holding the chainsaw up over Linda's head. That's when Bruce Campbell was really holding a real chainsaw, and he goes like that, and he's all serious and shit. You can see that underneath of it, so I added that to it. This, by us fans, as far as I know, between me and my buddy Jason, this is called the Annie saw, and it is called that because it's Annie who comes in and sees it laying there by the fireplace or there in the cabin when she walks in and thinks that, you know, Ash is, who the fuck's this guy? He murdered my mom and dad. And the chainsaw sitting there, the blood underneath of it because Ash had cut his hand off with it. Otherwise, you only see it in the work shed. When Ash is going like that and holding it like that over Linda. So, and that's it. That's the Annie saw. Mine, of course, you know, like my other ones, it's a full working chainsaw. You can see that thing smoke, huh? One of those things about these types of Homelite chainsaws is, I know that right here for their oilers, their oiling system, especially on this one, there's 2 types. The Super 2's got something a little different. They got a little gasket, oil pump gasket in there. But this one relies solely on the the little valve in there, and when that goes bad, the little duckbill valve, it'll suck the bar oil in the crankcase and burn it off. So this thing smokes. I mean, this thing smokes. I love it. Love the smell of it. But visually, this is great to put on YouTube. This is great to put, you know, in those movies. Although I don't really use it. I only used it once, and it wasn't even running for real. And but that's good for visual. Otherwise, if you're watching my videos, you'll notice that sometimes you see a white smoke coming out of my chainsaw because I put seafoam in it. Because not only is that good for small engines and your fuel lines and your carburetors, but it is it's a fantastic visual, you know, without any needed special effects from any of the video editing software out there. Also, for this flat top, you know, the switch is right where it should be. You can just choke this one, unlike the other one. Won't run her as much, so. Fucking watermelons. Oh, use it both ways, so rather connecting here or there. So I really do like using this one a lot. I don't use it as often in my videos. I actually prefer my raised top. My Ash versus Evil Dead looks nicer. But you know, I mean, I built this and painted this to look like Evil Dead 2. Not as good as my buddy, but I even did some of the silvering over there by the cap. And on this side, you know, I put plenty of black over there on the clutch cover area. Got the bracket. This one is a T-bolt bracket, kind of pointed directly up. So it's a cool saw. It's fun to use. I love it. It's sturdy. You know, I've got a nice sturdy wood handle top on that. So not everything's maybe 100% screen accurate. I did it as best as I could. This one also, like the other one, supports the 18-inch bar and chain on it, which belong to Homelite 245. Finding them on eBay is not easy. And yes, you can find them, but I'm very particular with my vintage saws, as I want what I call a non-skinny bar. This bar has so it's a little thinner here and it's fat in the middle, and then it will thin out over here. And I wanted it to have as much of a screen accurate look as possible, without it actually being the gigantic Homelite bar that's on Ash's chainsaw. And that's how I do it, and that's that, as they say, you know, that's what it is. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm glad you're watching still, and I'm glad that you know, if you've been watching my channel, I thank you very much. So I know it's really important to me, and I'm glad that there's somebody out there's, you know, interested enough. So I wanted to give you a rundown on chainsaws a little bit. If you're enjoying this, please like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Have a groovy day.
But